Once again, good afternoon. This is the Bangkok broadcasting live in front of Central World and Quezon Plaza. We are 200 meters away from Ratchaprasong intersection where thousands of protesters are gathering to call for democracy. They call themselves the or Cana Lasadon 2020. The name was derived from an anti-establishment group 74 years ago that was to topple the status quo of Thailand at that time. Now, for those of you who just tuned in, we have been trying to reconnect to the internet. Large amount of crowd, we will constantly be cut off, so please bear with us. And just a bit of background, this protest here is a combination of various protests along the way organized by two main groups. The first one is the Free Youth and Free People group led by Thatte Ford Rungpapakit Seri from Chulalongkorn University. The other one, the United Front for Thammasat and demonstration led by Penguin Chirac from Thammasat camp, but they now merge into one group called the People's Party. And yesterday was another protest organized at the Democracy Monument at Ratchaprasong Avenue in front of McDonald's, the usual place. So yesterday the pro-democracy camp, they organized a protest in front of Democracy Monument and they seized the territory. They gathered the flower pots that were set up there by the police and they took hold of the whole statue and they were trying to march to the government house around 3 p.m. However, they were presented with roadblocks from the police along the way. However, the protest leaders were able to negotiate it their way and made way for protesters to march to the government house. And they successfully set up stages, 4 stages at night. They tried to camp out and demanded for Mr. Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister, to resign immediately. However, they failed as police officers were dispatched early in the morning at 4 a.m. and protest was dispersed with main protest leaders being arrested and now they face date unknown. That's why these people are gathering here at Ratchaprasong intersection, one of the main intersection in Bangkok. Here we are at the heart of Bangkok. On the right hand side we can see Central World, on the left hand side we can see Quezon shopping mall, and also on that side 5 Stars Hotel along the road. And for those of you who commute on BTS train station regularly, this is Shitlom station and that's Siam station. So you can see here this is a very strategic point to be. And just to give you a brief historical background, this place was once occupied by wretched protesters back in 2010 when they was trying to oust the then cabinet of Mr. Apisit Vejjajiva. However, the wretched protesters were faced with harsh crackdown from the government at that time, and some of the 100 protesters lost their lives during that time. That situation led Thailand to a long-standing political quagmire that we can that led to this day. So it's been 10 years and people are still calling for full democracy. They feel like they are living in a dictatorial regime and want freedom of expression and restore. So now, as I told you before, I cannot move to the main stage because if I go there I will lose the signal. So we're gonna move you closer, but if we lose the signal, we're gonna come back at this point again, at this venue again. This is Ratchadamri Road. You can see people are starting to fill up the avenue. The main stage is over there at the intersection. The protesters were able to pass the barricades, the police barricade further to Patu Nam now. The barricades used to be so close to the main stage at that ไอ้สะพานลอยอะ you know, skywalk on the skywalk. Yes, the barricades were there, but the protesters were able to put the barricade away to that the Peshbury Road. You know, and on that we are seeing protesters are starting to come and read during at section. We're gonna try to bring ourselves interested in action here to make some living. We're gonna go. Don't have to open your mask if you are afraid.
Okay.
Oh, if you want to open your mask, it's okay. Why are you here?
I would like to demonstrate against the dictatorship in Thailand.
Go ahead. Why?
Why? Because the dictatorship is doing something very wrong. They arrest our friends at the morning, in the morning of this, day, and I would like them to set them free for the good of all Thai people.
Thank you so much. Another question. There was a speculation that there will be another crackdown on the protester. Are you afraid if there's a crackdown?
No, if I'm afraid, I will not be here.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. We'll see you around. Okay. Move, sir, to the station. You can see the train pass by. Oh, to น้องพี่ขอพี่ชมครับในการชุมนุมนี้ so he's saying he's come here to sell his and he's not afraid to be here ก็คือเรามานี่ก็คือเราไม่กลัวเลยเหรอแม้ว่าจะมีการแบบการล้อมปราบผู้ชุมนุมอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
นิดหนึ่งครับ
so I asked him whether he's afraid that there will be a crackdown that the protest will be surrounded by police he said he's a little bit scared but แต่ว่าก็จะยังขายอยู่ใช่ไหม
ก็ขายครับ
โอเคถ้าข่าวใหญ่ให้เราเอาน้ำอะไรครับมีน้ำเปล่าไหมเอ่ยมีโคลาบูน้ำมะนาวเป็นโคลาหวานนะ20ครับ Okay so you know it somehow the protest somehow just a moment we are buying water so was Ratchaprasong เอาหน้าเขาเหรออันนี้ให้คลิปน้องไปเลยให้ตั้งหนูตั้งใจเรียนขอบคุณนะครับเปลี่ยนแปลงประเทศกัน starts from you okay move closer มากับใครเอ่ยมากับคุณพ่อเหรอที่คุยด้วยได้ไหมปิดหน้าดีกว่าปิดหน้าได้ปะอันนี้ค่ะ they are minor to his dad is and he พ่อช่วยมีพ่อน้องเอ้ยครับขอสัมภาษณ์หน่อยนะฮะว่าวันนี้มาทำอะไร Here already here the father of two kids in on the street that we just met วันนี้มาทำอะไรครับพูดก็ได้เดี๋ยวผมแปลให้ He's here to call for democracy and to ask Prime Minister ประยุทธ์จันทร์โอชาทีนี้เนี่ยมีคนลุมถ่ายลูกของคุณพ่อเนี่ยถามว่าเขาจะหาว่าเอาเด็กมาชุมนุม
แต่เริ่มแรกๆแล้วครับเขาเคยมาหลายครั้งแล้วครับ
ชุมนุมตั้งแต่เริ่มแล้ว so he said he's here for so many times at the beginning of the protest แรกๆนี่คือเมื่อไหร่ครับ
แต่ก่อนเสื้อแดง
before the red shirt protest and then พูดเลยครับ
19ก็ไปที่สนามหลวง
19 the United Front for Thammasat demonstration
ก็ไปที่ราชดำเนิน
and yesterday he was there at Ratchaprasong Avenue children's said not โอเคขอบน้องๆอะไรเงี้ยครับขอบคุณมากครับ so I just talked to the father
Here the audience said that there is no sound.
Okay. We are checking for the sound. So basically, we just talked to the father of two of the kids sitting on the street. We were wondering what they're here for, and they said that they're here to call for democracy and to ask Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha. And as they are minor, we have to be skeptic. I mean, as usual, as journalists. So we approached that, and he said that he's here. He has been through so many protests before, and he's not afraid of his kids' safety because he has been through many protests, and he knows how to get away if violence is to erupt. Okay, so is the sound back on? Okay, for those of you who just tuned in, are you tired, cameraman? If you're tired, you can sit now. Okay, because I'm tired, a bit tired. Been walking. Okay, for those of you who just tuned in, this is a Bangkok Post broadcasting live in front of Gaeson Plaza Shopping Mall. We are across from Central World Shopping Avenue and 200 meters away from Ratchaprasong intersection, where thousands of protesters are gathering to call for democracy and to oust Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha. And people are starting to come here and reinforce the protesters. Earlier, barricades were set up, but protesters were able to press the barricades now further away to Pratu Nam. So more and more people are coming. And just to give you a bit of a background, this is a combination of so many previous demonstrations. The first one was in August 16. That one was organized by the Free People and Free Youth movement led by protest leader Thatte Ford Ryang Prapaikit Seri from Chulalongkorn University. And the other one was held at Thammasat University in Thapachan, and later on the protester moved to Sanam Luang, or which they now call Sanam Rasadon or People's Premise. And yesterday there's another big gathering at Democracy Monument at Ratchaprasong Avenue. Mr. Anand Nampa, the protest leaders, the two groups, the United Front for Thammasat demonstration and the Free People and Free Youth groups, have now merged into this one group called the People's Party. And yesterday they staged a protest at Democracy Monument, and then later on marched to Government House, and they occupied the streets around the Government House demanding for Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha to resign immediately. And they set up the four stages along the road, and pressed for their demands and said that they would not go home unless Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha resigned. However, at 4 a.m. this morning, the protest was dispersed by the police and protest leaders were arrested and their fate unknown till now. However, Mr. Anonampa, one of the protest leaders, he claimed that a police officer was trying to get him on a helicopter and was trying to take him to Chiang Mai province, but we are not so sure about that. You can go on his personal Facebook page to follow the situation, and here that's why people are starting to come to press for their three demands. The first one is the resignation of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, and the second one is for the Parliament to open door for charter amendment, and the third one is the reform on the monarchy. And also they are here to call for the freedom of their friends. They are calling for the police to release the arrested protesters. Later this morning, Mr. Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister, issued an emergency decree barring the gatherings of more than 5 people and also barring the media to portray news that may jeopardize the national security. But still, protesters press on and are trying to press for their demand. Once again, this is a Bangkok Post. We may face technical difficulties from time to time. We may be cut off from time to time due to poor internet connection, but we are trying our best to follow the situation, so please bear with us and keep the comment section civil. Please do not engage in... Sorry, my brain. Let me rest for 10 seconds. So people are starting to join. You fair and unbiased, impartial information, so we are doing our best to present you this news as well as other news happening in this country. We are living in a democratic country with freedom of expression, so comments are encouraged in the comment section, but please keep it civil. Okay, now the main stage is over there. We are trying to get you a better look. Let's go. Now it's already 6 p.m. and the protest leaders are telling the protesters to stand up to salute the flag, the Thai national flag. What time is it now? กี่โมงแล้วนะครับตอนนี้ Okay, so the people are now standing up to pay tribute to the national flag, national anthem. However, they have put the 3 fingers salute up as a symbol of defiance. Once again, the Bangkok Post broadcasting live in front of Kaesong Plaza and Central World Shopping Center. We are 300 meters away from Ratchaprasong intersection, where thousands of protesters are gathering in a pro-democracy protest organized by the People's Party, and they are now paying tribute to the flag and national anthem to express their stance that they are in fact not unpatriotic. They are in fact patriotic, and that patriotism should not be tied to any government, and that's why they stood up to pay salute to pay tribute to the national flag. Now, when she's here to sell pickle fruit วันนี้คุณป้าไม่กลัวเหรอครับในการชุมนุมนี้ไม่กลัวเพราะอะไรเอ่ย she's not afraid why ก็คือมาขายของ Oh, she's just here to sell pickles fruits and she has no enemy anywhere. So we can see along the street that it's a very interesting sight because usually footpaths around this area were blocked from vendors because this is at the very heart of Bangkok where luxury shopping centers are situated, and now we are seeing commoners, vendors setting up their food stall and selling their products. ไม่กลัว she's not afraid ก็คือว่ามีชุมนุมที่ไหนก็คือไปขายของที่นั่น so are you there whenever there's a protest ไม่ว่าสีไหนฝั่งไหนก็ไปหมดเลยหรือเปล่าหรือว่าแค่พอโอกาสเวลามีโอกาสมาสมมติถ้าเห็นก็เลยไปshe said that she goes to the protest not particularly going to protest, but she goes to where opportunity lies. So it's a very interesting sight to see. Now, as I told you, 3 p.m. the protest together at the intersection. Now, the spill to road was set. Now the protesters were able to push to Ratchaprasong Road, and more people. Gonna take you closer. ถ้าอินเทอร์เน็ตเริ่มแบบมันขึ้นเป็นแดงบอกพี่จะเดินกลับมา But as I told you before, the internet connection is so poor. We are constantly trying to get you a better glimpse of the situation. โทษนะครับ See the whole area. ขอโทษ Starting to get around the road at Ratchaprasong intersection again. For those who just tune in, this is a Bangkok Post broadcasting live at a pro-democracy movement at the heart of Bangkok. People are started to gather around 3 p.m. at Ratchaprasong intersection at the heart of Bangkok. On the right hand side, you can see Central World, and on the left hand side, you can see Kaesan Plaza luxurious shopping mall. So that's a bit of a background. This is a pro-democracy protest organized by a group called the People's Party or คณะราษฎร 2020. People's Party 2020. The name was derived from 74 years ago in an anti-establishment group that was trying to abolish the status quo of the then Thai society, but they failed to do so. So protesters have chosen that name to represent that particular group, and they were saying that they are trying to carry the torch forward and finish what Kanarat back then left off. Another background, yesterday there was another protest at Democracy Monument led by Mr. Anon Nampa, who is now arrested. His fate is unknown. This protest is being led by another group of leaders. My brain is dysfunctional. The People's Party They are calling for three demands. The first one is the resignation of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, and the second one is for the Parliament to open door for Charter Amendment, and the third one is the reform of the monarchy. And also they have added a new demand, which is to release the arrested protesters. Now, in the morning at 4 a.m., the protests at the government house, where the people succeeded in seizing the territory around the government house and set up stages, 4 stages. However, they faced with police crackdown around 4 a.m. this morning, and the protest leaders were arrested. That is why the protest leaders called for the protesters to come out at Ratchaprasong Avenue tonight to call for the release of their friends and also their 3 demands. Now, this morning, Mr. Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister, had issued an emergency decree barring the gathering of more than 5 people in the Bangkok area. However, the protester pressed on. They defied the state and they negotiated with the police who were here early on. Constantly on edge because I was maybe the police will try to seize us. So here they have seized the intersection. You can see the number of people. From my perspective, these are generally college students, people of around 20 to 30 of ages from all walks of life. We are trying to interview some of them if they are willing to do so. พี่ขอสัมภาษณ์หน่อยได้ไหมเอ่ยภาษาไทยก็ได้ Can you speak English?โอเคบอกมาทำอะไรต้องการอะไรจากการชุมนุมนี้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยอะไรนะได้ใครก็ได้ถ้าเกิดว่า So due to that safety, we would like to interview everybody, but we have to be careful. So ใครก็ได้ He's calling his girlfriend นะ so ก็ได้งั้นยืนบังให้ได้ไหมแล้วขอสัมภาษณ์หน่อยได้ไหมครับอ๋อโอเค Can you stand up ก็นะภาษาไทยหรือภาษาอังกฤษครับไทยค่ะได้งั้นพี่พูดภาษาไทยนะครับ So she's wearing Ratchaprasong เป็น red shirt ใช่ไหมครับเป็นเสื้อแดงใช่ไหมครับ Also she's here with us and she's willing to give interview. So พี่พูดภาษาไทยเดี๋ยวผม simultaneous translation in English. Just look at the camera and tell us what you are thinking. วันนี้มาทำอะไรครับพูดได้เลย
มาช่วยเด็กๆครับ
So she's here today to help the students.
มาเป็นกำลังเด็ก
to find Noel.
ตอนนี้เป็นนาทีทองสำหรับผู้ใหญ่
This
อย่า
is
งเรา
now the golden time opportunity for grown-ups like us.
ว่างแล้ว
Our children have been
เราออกมาสู้เราต้องออกมา
Our
ช่วย
children
ลูก
have
หลาน
come out to fight and therefore we have to come out to fight as well. นี่คาดว่าจะเห็นอะไรจากการชุมนุมครั้งนี้ครับ What do you wish to see from today's protest? She wants to ขอโทษนะครับเมื่อกี้พูดว่าอะไรนะครับ
เห็นความยาก
To see the progress of these children.
เพราะเมื่อวานเนี่ยน้องๆดูแล้วว่าถึงจะมาสลายเราน้อง
Because today the children
ๆสลาย
have already shown that even though there was a crackdown, they were willing to sacrifice.
ให้จับแกนนำแต่ว่าไม่ให้
The protest leader urged the police to arrest them without giving the protesters any problem.
เพราะว่าใช้กำลังเสร็จแล้วเขา
That was a use of force, and they were trying
ความรุนแรงแล้วก็
violence.
รู้แย่แล้วก็มาสร้างเรื่องจะให้
There were
การ
people
เกิด
trying to at a standoff with the protesters.
แต่น้องๆเขากลุ่มเกมดี
Were very and things from
ค่ะ
ครับ
เขายั่วยุหลายรอบหรือเกินจะให้เกิดเรื่อง
ครับก็ขอถามหน่อยนะฮะ so this was a place where Richard is during that time and people lost their lives ปีที่แล้วใช่ไหมคุณพี่เป็นนปชเสื้อแดงมาชุมนุมตรงนี้ แล้วมันมีความรุนแรงเกิดขึ้นเนี่ยมีคนสูญเสียชีวิตประมาณหลาย90 กว่าคนที่โดน
ไม่ใช่90 กว่าคนหลายร้อย
not หลายร้อยคนครับอันนี้เราก็ตามข่าวหลักเราก็ไม่รู้so that there were people hundreds of people lost their lives 2010 protest ครับ
ไม่กลัว
she's not afraid
อยู่ในเหตุการณ์เมื่อคราวที่แล้ว
because she was also in that situation where she was leading people out of the protest venue หนียังไงครับช่วยบอกให้หน่อยได้ไหมเพราะว่าหลายคนก็กลัวเพราะว่า so there was crackdown yesterday so people were speculating that down today and some of them are what is the best way to exit our letters if there's a violent crackdown happening so she's gonna share with us the strategy that she 10 years ago to remove protesters from the venue ทางไหนครับ
หนีมันมา4 ทิศเลยแล้วก็มาโจมตีตั้งแต่กลางคืนพวกทหารพวกตำรวจมาแล้วก็ยันสว่างมันก็ยิงขู่กันมาเรื่อยเสร็จแล้ว8 โมงมันก็กระชับพื้นที่เข้ามาแล้วเราก็หนีเข้าวัดปทุมแล้วก็หนีเข้าโรงพยาบาลตำรวจ
แต่ที่วัดปทุมก็มีคนโดนยิง
มีค่ะมันยิงตั้งแต่ตรงนี้อยู่แล้วยิงเข้ามาขู่
so she said that during that time that the Ratchet protest was staged here she was here during the crackdown and the protesters were being surrounded the sound I'm so tired I'm so exhausted of the sound this is a new sound and still that's not a good quality ครับ so เสียงมาหรือยังครับผู้ชมที่ดูอยู่ the audience who are with us please tell me that you hear us or not มีไหมเสียงขอโทษนะครับ okay is the sound back on sound okay so basically that during that time 2010 protest Ratchet protesters were being surrounded on there and she was running to Wat Pathum Wanaram near Siam Paragon and also at the police hospital แล้วทำยังไงถึง survive how did you survive and they will start shooting at night
เขาก็ยิงขู่ให้
and they shot to threaten the area and nobody can enter could enter and people become less
พอ6 โมงเช้าปุ๊บ
and at 6 a.m.
เราไม่ไหวแล้วก็
I should not press no longer
ให้เข้าไปที่วัด
I ran into Wat Patanaram
แล้วก็อีกฝ่ายหนึ่งก็ให้ไปโรงพยาบาลตำรวจ
and to the police hospital
ค่ะแล้วมันก็ยิงเข้ามาแล้วก็
shooting and run they were standing at พระพรหมภาษาอังกฤษว่า the Brahma statue at the intersection so they were shot at ครับก็คือว่าปลอดภัยที่สุดน่ะ the safest place to แล้วครับ
ใช่ก็โดนตำรวจเสร็จตอนเข้านะตอน
the police that because she ran at 9 a.m.
ที่เข้าวัดปทุมมาเข้าวัดเข้าโรงพยาบาลเนี่ยประมาณ9 โมงสลายม็อบเสร็จแล้วเที่ยงเขาหิวข้าวกันก็เลยออกมา
they went outside to find some food to eat.
มาเอาอะไรที่หลังม็อบแล้วก็เอาปีนรั้วจากโรงพยาบาลกระเบียงขึ้นไป
ว่ามี crackdown if crackdown what should we do ถ้าเกิดว่าเกิด crackdown ขึ้นจริงๆเกิดการสลายการชุมนุมขึ้นจริงๆแนะนำให้ผู้ชุมนุม
เปล่า
because เป็น
สื่อไม่รู้
ขอบคุณมากนะครับ we are constantly facing technical difficulties back it was a connection but now the sound system 7,000 บาทเนี่ย and it's messed up again okay มายังครับ is the sound back on sound มายัง
It's no this
The audience, please tell me whether the sound is back so we can continue our live broadcast. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I may be a little bit restless because yesterday I was at the protest as well. เสียงมายังครับ Okay, the sound is back on. Once again, this is a Bangkok Post broadcasting live. ขอยืนหน่อยนะครับ ไม่ต้องนั่งก็ได้ยืนก็ได้ Once again, good evening. This is Bangkok Post broadcasting live in the middle of the protest, a pro-democracy protest at Ratchaprasong intersection where thousands of protesters are gathering to call for their three demands. The first one being the resignation of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha. The second is for the parliament to open door for charter amendment. And the third... And the third one is for the monarchy to reform. Now, the protesters are chanting, "Get out, get out, get out!" But as we cannot move closer, we cannot tell what they are being shouted at. เขาอันนี้อะไรออกไปครับอะไรเอ่ยอ๋อประยุทธ์ get out เหรอmy taxes so they Once again, this is a Bangkok Post broadcasting live. We are trying our best to provide you simultaneous translation. However, insults and disparaging comments will not be translated. So the crowd is chanting, "Prayut get out," our tax money, and also bleep bleep. And another one is อะไรนะเมื่อกี้อะไรบ้างนะประยุทธ์ออกไปแล้วก็บลิบตู่ and our tax money and ตู่ you are lying believe yes so here just a little bit background we will move closer เราขออนุญาตเดินเข้าครับไม่เหม็นหรือเปล่าเมื่อวานแบบย่ำโคลนมาขอโทษนะคะคอนเนคชั่นยังได้ไหมได้คอนเนคชั่นได้ไหม
yes okay
Nice we still got connection this is a surprise Once again, good evening. This is the Bangkok Post reporting live from Ratchaprasong Avenue intersection, where thousands of protesters, pro-democracy protesters, are gathering to call for the three demands. They are pressing for their three demands. The first one being the resignation of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, and the second one is for Parliament to open door for charter amendment, and the third one is for the monarchy to reform. They also added another demand to release the protest leaders who were arrested this morning at 4 a.m. at Makang Bridge. So just a bit of background. Yesterday there was a demonstration. There was a demonstration at Democracy Monument at Ratchaprasong. I'm messing up Ratchaprasong เดี๋ยวก่อนนะ Ratchaprasong Avenue. They were marching to the government house. They were blocked along the way by barricades set up by the police forces, but they were able to negotiate their way out, and they successfully reached the government house around 1 p.m. last night. And the protest leaders urged the protesters to stay overnight yesterday around the government house. However, the police later cracked down on the protesters around 4 a.m. and protest leaders were arrested. Now, that's why they call for another protest here at this historical venue. So, another background, 10 years ago in 2010, Ratchaprasong protesters were here and they faced crackdown from the then government of Mr. Pisit Ratchachiwa. Military and police forces dispersed the protesters back then. Some were shot. They ran to the police hospital and Wat Pathum Wanaram, and that's why the protesters choose this venue today to commemorate that crackdown and also to reinforce that claim that the government is dictatorial and they're trying to suppress the people. So now, as usual, they are calling for the three demands. They are pressing for three demands. I will be iterating this on and on. For those of you who just tuned in, the first one is the resignation of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, and the second one is for the Parliament to open door for charter rewrite, and the third one is for the monarchy to reform. And also they have added another demand for the police, the demand that the police release the protest leaders who were arrested this morning at 4 p.m. Now at 3 p.m. this afternoon, protesters are started to gather at the intersection, but the barricades were set up along the way. The police were here. They were citing an emergency decree issued by Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha barring the gathering of over 5 people in Bangkok metropolitan area. So we've seen protesters and police. They were in a standoff, negotiating their presence here, but eventually protesters were able to press the barricades away to Phetchaburi Road. So now the numbers of protesters are hospital, and this is another luxurious store called Gaesan Plaza. We are at the heart of Bangkok, where 5-star hotels are situated, and that's the famed Brahma statue, where millions of people usually come and pay respect to the statue, asking for good fortune. For those of you who don't understand Thai political context, this venue was sieged by the Ratchaprasong protesters 10 years ago in May 10. then sign. However, the protesters at that crackdown, some lost their lives along the way. So the protest leaders chose this venue to commemorate the loss of lives outside. And they are now pressing three demands: resignation of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, and for the parliament to open door for charter rewrite, and also for the monarchy to reform. And also they've added another demand for the police to release the protest leaders that were arrested this morning at 4 a.m. We are trying to bring you closer, but as I told you before, we are constantly facing with technical difficulties, and we may be cut off from time to time because the internet signal is so poor, but we are trying our best to present you this news. And if we were to be cut off again, we will walk back to that venue. Come on. Can you speak English? Yeah, speak English. Or Thai, I can translate for you. Why? It's okay. But is this a breach of law? I'm sure you will be arrested for that. I'm just kidding.สู้ๆพอจะขอได้ไหมครับข้างหลังก็ได้เราที่แบบอะไรอย่างเงี้ย So why are you here today?
ของตัวเอง
For my right.
แสดงสิทธิ์ของตัวเองให้เขา
I don't understand the sound system. Again? The sound's back on? Is the sound back on? Is the sound back on? Okay, just try. I think it will be เสียบเข้าไปใหม่แล้วก็ I'm sorry for the sound system. People are chanting. Dictatorship. Okay, why are you here today? To show my rights
ให้เขาเลิกคุกคามไว้และให้รู้
and for them to stop harassing the people and to let them know that the nation is a people, nor the government nor the monarchy as they've lied before. Thank you. What do you think going to happen out of this protest today? วันนี้คิดว่าจะเกิดอะไรขึ้นกลัวไหม crackdown
ไม่กลัวค่ะเพราะเราอยู่ด้วยกัน
she's not afraid of the crackdown because she said that we are together ขอบคุณมากนะครับนี่จุฬาจากมาจากอะไรคณะที่ทุน
ทันตะค่ะ
อ๋อมาจากไหนมาจากที่นู่นเลยป่ะมาจาก
ไม่
เพราะท่านต่างเรียนอยู่ตรงนี้เนาะ
มาจากบ้านค่ะเรียนออนไลน์
So yeah, we just talked to a girl. The sound's back on, sir. Okay. เอาของวางไว้ก่อนตรงนี้ก็ได้งั้นฝาก We are following the situation closely. Fortunately, we are tired, but we will press on. Are you tired? You want what? Mina? Okay. Let's go to that side. ขอสัมภาษณ์ได้ไหมขอสัมภาษณ์ภาษาไทยภาษาอังกฤษก็ได้ Okay. So we are with some of the protesters today and ask her feeling. มาทำอะไรพูดไม่ได้เลยเหรอพี่แปล simultaneous มาทำอะไรวันนี้พูดเลย
ก็ในฐานะผม
As one of the citizens
เราก็ต้องการประชาธิปไตย
we want democracy
วันนี้เราแสดงพลังค่ะว่าเราไม่ต้องการ
now we are show our power that we don't want you พวกคุณพวกไหน
พวกที่เป็นเผด็จการ
those dictatorships we are here to oust dictatorships
แสดงพลังค่ะ
we are here to show our power
แสดงเราต้องการการเปลี่ยนแปลง
we want to show that there's changes that we want changes เมื่อวานเนี่ยมีการ crack down มีการแบบว่าสลายการชุมนุมตอนเมื่อเช้านะตีสี่ so there was a crackdown at 4 a.m. this morning and some people speculating that there will be another crackdown tonight are you afraid
no because we are come here a lot so
power. I don't afraid of anything. I will show power for change of Thailand. Okay.
sure we can make the crowd that would be too subjective so we're gonna let you hear the protester. How many people do you think are here tonight?